Hi, everybody, and welcome to my podcast. I'm here today with my good friend Leeví from Iceland, whom I met at Damien Eccles' ceremonial magic retreat back in October. And we stayed in touch, and I found out that he works a lot on music and poetry, and he gave me many great insights into my spiritual path and magical practice over these last couple months. So I wanted to have him on the podcast so we can talk about that. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Before we get into everything kind of about your path and journey and stuff, would you like to lead us on an energy-based practice, on a meditative practice?
Yeah, that sounds great. So what we want to do is to begin by finding a point in front of us.
Okay.
Staring at this point with a soft gaze.
Okay.
With each breath, gathering more and more energy behind your eyes. Looking at that point.
Feeling it
coming
behind
back
the eyes.
from all of the... Yes, that's the energy point that we want to focus on. And with each breath, gathering more energy there, away from all thoughts, places, people, and events. Coming back to the present moment right behind your eyes. Then take a deep inhale. And on the exhale, close your eyes. But retaining the energy behind the eyes. Beginning to draw it back into the point in the center of your head, between your ears and behind your eyes. Visualizing it as a room without judgment. Just noticing what the room looks like today. And from your energy body, you want to begin to clean the room, reorganizing it, making it so that it's the prime place for you to do your work. Making sure that everything is in its place. And everything is purposeful, peaceful, and in perfect alignment. From this point, you want to draw your energy down your spine, deeper all the way to the root chakra at the base of the spine, feeling a humming or vibration there, kind of tingling. Using your breath, begin to grow roots, seeping deeper and deeper and deeper into the ground, all the way into the Earth's core. You can kind of feel a click or a pop as you fully connect to the core of the Earth. Using your breath, begin to feel a pull or a pressure coming from the Earth, pulling away any and all stagnant energy from your body, your mind, or your heart. As you inhale, feel the pull pulling all the way from the core of the Earth, pulling away any and all stagnant energy in your aura, the subtle bodies. With each breath feeling lighter, clearer, and more present. With each exhale, feel the energy illuminate from the earth into all directions, out into the cosmos. Inhale as you feel it pull away any and all stagnant energy from the room around you. And as you exhale, feel brand new, recycled, and renewed energy illuminate from the earth. Inhale once again, draining your city from all of its stagnant energy. So they can feel this peaceful presence all around you. Zooming back in to the point at the base of your spine, focusing on the point there. Begin to be aware of your aura without judgment. Just be present with the way your aura looks like today. You want to bring it in about an arm's length all around you in an oval egg shape. Begin to make it more crisp and more defined so they can very clearly tell where your energy begins and ends, finding your boundary to be very defined, crisp. At the front end of your aura, visualize a rose appearing. This rose works as a filter. You want to program it to filter in only the energy that you prefer to come in contact with. Place it at the front end of your aura so that the only thing that you perceive throughout the rest of your day, week, or coming months will be those energies that you prefer. Bring your awareness back behind your eyes. Without opening your eyes, begin to paint a picture of the room that you're in. Make the picture as clear and detailed as you possibly can. Beginning to come back into the room. Beginning to move your toes and your fingers, your wrists and your ankles. Coming into a deep breath and stretch overhead. And as you exhale, slowly open your eyes.
Thank you. That was incredible.
Thank you.
I loved, and I hope everyone that does it really enjoys it too, but I loved connecting with Mother Earth and feeling her love. And I felt almost guilty, like, can I give this to you, Mother Earth? And she's like, yes, please give it to me. Like, I am here to love and serve you, and I can handle that and send you this vibrant, loving energy. So I loved putting the roots there. And I just like to tell anybody that these kinds of practices are, that there's no boundary between imagination and reality. Like, they are truth if you understand them to be truth.
Yes.
And and I love the our egg-shaped aura and solidifying it around us, and then the rose to filter out what energies we want to come in, and which it's kind of just like goes around us, like doesn't come into our field.
And
Yeah.
all of the tools that I presented are just that, tools, permissions for us to experience a certain perceived reality.
Yes, the mind, for me, the mind got very calm and quiet right away. But I do also notice that as a fruit of continued practice is the more I practice, the quicker and easier I can come into those
Yes.
states. Well,
Yeah,
thank
so
you
for
so
the
much.
people that are listening,
Go ahead.
so for the people that were listening and had a hard time with it, just keep coming back to it, and it'll get better each time. And eventually, you want to build up to a point where you don't need to listen to a recording, and to begin to build your own tools.
Yes. Thank you. So,
Thank you.
I wanted to have you on here and I guess begin by asking you just a little bit about your spiritual path and practice in your life and what brought you into working with these energies and this practice and what you're all about, what your intents are and what your focus is.
I mean, I guess like most people, it's a really long, long story, but I think it was from a quite of an early age. I got a bit swept up into the New Age movement, and was following teachers such as Spirit Science on YouTube was definitely a sort of beginning stepping stone.
I know
And
spirit
from
science.
there, I found teachers such as Bashar and Abraham Hicks, the channels. And so for this really long time, it was sort of a big mental game to me. So I knew it was the truth, but I didn't have many practical references to apply that truth. And so for a very long time, I think I spent just knowing without applying. And so I kept coming into these bumps in the road again and again, like, I know I'm creating my reality. Why would I create this, right?
Right.
And so
I
it
think
all kind of accumulated up. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, just to nudge in there for a second. I love how you said that because without practice and integration, there is a lot of us out there that we know a lot. We can listen to stuff, we can get a lot of info. Someone can listen to your podcast and you share what you're going to share. But without the practical embodiment and sadhana or spiritual practice or application, you might even learn about manifesting and all this, but it doesn't seem to bear fruit or become real.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was very much the case for me. And now that my path is more solidified, what I began to realize is that I was just more leaning into one side of the coin rather than seeing it in a holistic sense. But back to my path, that kind of led me to this sort of accumulation where I needed to change my life. There was was a very much of a tower card kind of moment where it seemed like everything was sort of falling apart. And so at that time, I just decided to move out and become a snowboard instructor out in Austria. And that was a very important part of my path because it was the very first time that I experienced sort of uninhibited joy for the first time in my life, living the dream, so to say, and realizing that in any point in time that that's a possibility, that I can actually do the right thing at any stage in my life. Then eventually I had always in the back of my mind wanting to do yoga more seriously, and then I was given permission to do that properly when I injured my back, and I was just like hit with the realization that my physical health is not a given, and that's something that I need to put work into, honestly. And so that's what I did. As a result of my back injury, I in 2019 got my yoga instructor license in Hatha Yoga out in Samahita, Thailand. And
Wow.
that was a very big initiatory moment because that brought me to energy work with Jeffrey Allen, and from that point I got into qigong. And from qigong, I found Damien, and I began to get initiated into that path as well. And so I began to see all these different paths as sort of like the many faces of the one path that we are obviously all on.
Yes, the many faces of the one path. I love
Yes.
that. And in this day and age, since we have such great access to travel and to teachings, I think God or the universe is able to bring these different threads or these different currents of lineages into our life and practice. And sometimes one of them is meant for one stage and then one of them is meant for the next stage or not. But it's really a beautiful thing, I always believe, because even just 100 years ago, it would have been so difficult to be
Yes.
exposed to even find so many of these paths, these currents, these traditions. Yeah.
And when one becomes a little bit too attached to any given path, and by the time they find their next point in development, they will completely turn their head and like completely dissolve all identification with their old path, when I don't think that's necessary, because every stage of your path is important and needs its respect.
Yeah, I love you. That's honestly a miracle you said that, because I was just reading the law of rhythm and the Kabbalion
Mm.
right when I was waiting for you to get on this call, and thinking about the same thing, how the rhythm flows, but when we leave a path or a practice or anything in life, it doesn't mean it was bad or wrong or didn't work. It just means at that stage that was perfect where we were at, and now we're flowing into something else on the journey.
Yeah,
So I love how you said that, because I was just thinking the same thing just a few minutes ago.
I remember distinctly finishing my Hatha certification and being all in, like practicing hours a day and putting my all into it, and then hitting this like, this isn't doing it for me. Like getting frustrated that that this thing that gave me so much like wasn't working anymore, seemingly. I mean, of course, if I would have kept at it, like any practice, we know it works. But um, like this frustration of this is not a modernized path, which a lot of the older paths aren't. And I think that's really important to keep in mind when you're attempting to reach these states, that it can be really difficult when you're using paths that are from 1,000 years ago, 1,500 years ago, that were meant for people that had all the time in the world. And now we're not there anymore. Like it's a different time and it needs a different path as a result.
This is true. This is very true. And I know in a lot of Sanatan Dharma and the Hindu teachings, they often say in this age, they say chanting and devotion, chanting the names of God and devotion, because they say a lot of the yogic practices or the more meditative practices are hard to practice in this age, because people are busy and short-lived and ignorant and running around all the time. But that's true. That's a good point. The adaptation and evolution over time.
Which
Yeah.
is probably
And I
one of the,
like,
yeah, go ahead.
oh, I was just going to say, I like how you said the many strands of the one path, because sometimes we can get caught, anyone, whether people are on a spiritual path or religious or not, on ideas of right and wrong, or like this
Yes.
way works and this way doesn't. But really, we should be our own internal judge by the fruits of, you can
Yes.
feel it, right? And that's how you know these things lead to the same place, because I've been involved in many traditions, from
Mhm.
being with Buddhist monks to magic people, and when you meet somebody that really has the essence and embodies it, no matter what tradition they're in, you know it and you can feel
Yeah.
it. And then same thing within yourself. It's the shift in energy that becomes the peace, the love, the wisdom and understanding that comes in, and that can be our own way of knowing rather than listening to beliefs of like blocks in the mind of like this is right, this is wrong, that type of thing.
And I think it sort of transitions well into a topic that I've thought about a lot, which is this idea of sin or of bad karma, or a lot of people are fixated with the idea of transcending karma. I think it's really important to clearly define what these ideas mean. So karma in particular just means cause and effect, really. And so we are in this giant chain of cause and effect. So seemingly it seems like we're caught in a bad deal. But like one of my teachers in particular points out, being in a seemingly bad dealt hand often can be a really big blessing in disguise, because it really wakes us up to the fact that we're limiting ourselves. It can be a lot more difficult to realize this if you're in a very good place. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So this is the teacher Bashar uses the analogy of a rubber band. When you pull a rubber band back into the darkness, it creates a lot of tension and a lot of difficulty. But the more tension you have, the farther into the light it shoots forth once you let go. And so you're given this opportunity to properly explore what it is that you don't prefer in order to completely and utterly let go of that.
Mic drop. Ha! That's incredible. Yes. Yes. Wow. And also, it reminded me of often in Buddhism, they say that the reason those on the path to enlightenment seek births on the earth plane rather than in very blissful, say, heavenly realms or astral realms is because on the earth plane, we have wisdom and insight and love, but there's also much suffering and
Yes.
much distress, so that it gives you the fuel to develop compassion and for your practice. And it's like a grist for the mill, because there is that suffering. So yeah, I love that you're saying that our karma, when it's seemingly bad or seemingly in the state of sin, can be a way to kind of purge and burn through it and see
Yes.
what you don't want and use it to propel you forward in a sense.
It's also, if you think of the rubber band, the more seemingly dark it seems, the easier it is to let go completely. So it gives you this opportunity of exploring what being out of the light feels like, so that you can then properly put both hands on the steering wheel and go completely towards the light.
Ah, that's beautiful. And it's so true. For me, when I had my spiritual awakening, it was due to getting arrested for beating somebody up really bad. But it wasn't just that event. I was 7 years of extremely heavy drug addiction, drug dealing, violence. And when I see what's in my spirit now, sometimes I think back, that's so interesting that was
The turning
that,
point.
that was my karma. Yeah, that in my soul I had to dive into that for whatever reason. Yeah, to go through it so
Yeah.
hard and fast and deep in order to just almost, yeah, to burn through it, to you used that, maybe utterly destroy, you said, to destroy that part of me and
Yeah.
be born again. Wow, that's incredible.
It's like just realizing that these seemingly dark things have a place. They are of some use, but only if you put them to use.
Right, because they are here in the universe. So obviously they're here for a reason, and
Yeah.
they're part of the
The
all.
divine design. Yeah.
Yes. But you're saying if we don't see that, then we just think of it as pretty much suffering, or feel tons of guilt or shame or remorse, or the world's out to get us, or whatever. We suffer because of it. We suffer because of it.
You could
And
just
kind of,
think of any good or bad deed as an offer, and then you choose to accept or reject that offer.
a good or bad deed that has happened or that might
That
happen.
happens to you, seemingly by someone else, by your own doing, or sometimes seemingly by some outward power is
Right.
doing.
So what
Yeah.
happens if you accept versus reject?
If you accept the bad offering, then you allow it to come into your being, and you're allowing it to sort of dwell. And that can propel you more into the darkness. But as I just said with the analogy, it will create more tension in your soul that can eventually then propel you forward into the light.
Yeah, and if you reject it, it's like the rose you were talking about, kind of the rose pushing. I know for me, when I had done psychedelic trips, they were often very painful and intense, and not always, sometimes on the personal psychological level, but sometimes on the level of seeing all of the suffering in the universe on like such a vast, unending scale, to where it would be very painful and I'd be crying and in despair. And often when I would convey that to people, they would use the words bad trip. But I never seen it like that, because
Yeah.
it purified me so much and gave me so much fuel for my practice, and wisdom and insight and compassion, because it was
You chose
looking
to put it to work.
at what is.
Yeah. You chose to put that suffering to work, to what it's meant to do, which is destroy itself.
Yes, I like that. I've never thought about it in that term, to destroy itself. Yeah.
So I think another good story that that almost just reading it made me have a spiritual experience. It was Eckhart Tolle's enlightening experience in The Power of Now. And he explains how the day before he awoke to his spiritual experience, he was getting ready to plan his suicide. And he was in a dark depression, and then just waking up, seeing the light shine through the window, and he paints this very vivid picture of like just really looking through his eyes for the first time in a really long time. And that's that sense of, if you're really sick of what you're already doing, that kind of offer will drastically change your life forever.
Yeah, and that was basically his psyche shattered, right? And then he
Yeah.
became a completely new person and became who he is now. And didn't he even spent some years, I think, wandering around Europe after that, he said, in ecstatic states, going
Yes.
from to park benches and stuff. But yeah, so he was ripe. He was ready somehow, somewhere inside of him, and that suffering like broke it open.
Yeah. If you allow it to do its work, if you don't resist it, it has the ability to do a big purge of your soul, so that you can definitely begin to live life in a different way afterwards.
Yes, that's a beautiful story.
I still remember reading it, and I was just in the living room, and I was looking out my window as he was saying this, and really just getting the kind of same, like really looking through my eyes to stay out of this sort of mental space, to really come into the present moment.
Yes. I like how you say that, really looking through the eyes. Sometimes when I'm sitting now in meditation or, yeah, sitting in meditation or anything like that, it's that contemplation too of who is it that's seeing or looking or breathing. And as you feel the breath come in and the heart and the chest and the bones, and what is that, right? Like there's this happening and there's this body and breath and form, but then there's something else deeper that's sort of animating all of
Hmm.
it. I like how you touched on the suffering because it's something that we often are busy hiding from or
Yes.
denying. And
Yes.
that's how our society is, at least in the, I don't know about Iceland, but in the United States, certainly.
I think probably in all of Western society it's very common, and in Iceland in particular, it's very common to completely avoid difficult subjects, which I'm a keen proponent of getting obsessed with the sort of quote unquote dark aspects of life, because I guess I became obsessed with it because I knew if I didn't go get on top of it, then I would end up under it.
Yes. Yes.
And so I was always very obsessed with getting to the bottom of, and even what sort of propelled me into my spiritual journey to begin with was uh my father's manic episode, and like losing touch with reality, and me realizing like, oh, I could do everything right and still like just lose it all. Like I better figure out a way out of that. So that's kind of
So
what,
you learned a lot from what he went through.
yes, I would say so. And I still am uh, a student of whatever that he is going through is.
Yeah. That's another beautiful thing that I've realized. And then I want to ask you a little bit about your work too, with your music and poetry. But one beautiful thing I've really came to see, especially once we talk about being in conscious contact, like me and you have talked about with the holy guardian angel or the
Yes.
guru, that all of life becomes our spiritual practice or our learning, and it literally comes through to you through all of the interactions and all of the events if we have the eyes to see and open up to it in that way. And my teacher
I mean,
Ramdas used to always go ahead.
go ahead. You could
Oh,
go.
Ramdas used to always say it's all grist for the mill. Like if you want it to be, like it's all grist for the path.
Yes.
Once you start to see it that way.
Yeah, it's when you start to, it's like remember the tarot card I pointed out to you. I don't remember why I showed you, but I showed you, I think it's, at least at the current moment, one of my favorite tarot cards. It's the Judgment card, where you have Gabriel with his trumpet in the sky, and below you have all the open coffins with dead rising up from their coffins.
Yes,
And
yes.
what that's symbolizing is the uh, dead or forgotten aspects of you that you've been denying this whole time, finally waking up to the true life that they possess. And the judgment then means the last time you judge reality rather than accept it.
Ah, I like, I have to say, because I have this picture right here and I was just reading, and he's on the wall behind us, my guru, but he said, I was just reading right before your interview, right before we got on here, there was a day they say when he was living in his body in the 70s where he was walking around and he kept saying for like a whole week straight, tall, tall, and non, and nobody knew what it meant because it wasn't even in Hindi. It was like another Indian dialect. And then they
Yeah.
finally asked him, and he said it means big, big, small, small. And he's like, you people see everything in too big, too small, too big, too
Yes.
small. And
Yes.
like we judge everything in reality. And
Yeah.
if we keep doing that, we can never taste love, truth, freedom, spirit. Yeah.
Which is probably a good good segue into what I feel like I did wrong for so much of my path is I attempted to sort of glorify love to the point of hurting myself
Tell
for a
us
long
more.
time. I mean, I guess just utterly accepting people that aren't deserving to the point of me putting my own mental, emotional health on the line, I guess. Trying to save other people.
Oops. Let me restart. I 100% did exactly that as well. And it took me a long time to learn that. And I thought that that the spiritual path and being in love was doing that. But really, I was definitely lacking somewhat in boundaries, and I was causing myself pain. And it wasn't in ways that was really spiritually based, because it wasn't helping anybody, me nor the other people. It wasn't conducive.
Exactly.
Yes.
Brings you to the realization that help that's not wanted isn't help at all.
Isn't help at all. Right.
I also
we
want
have to be
because you were talking about things that you saw as we were coming up to this interview. There was one thing. There's a tradition in Iceland where you get chocolate eggs on Easter, and then inside them they have these sayings. And I just opened a saying that was meant for my son, and it read in Icelandic, "It's better to be whole than to be healed."
Ooh, it's better to be whole than to be healed. That goes
And
along right with what you were saying.
I really like that, because I think in the spiritual path today, a lot of people seem to be chasing the idea of, I'm trying to heal this trauma, I'm trying to heal this, I'm trying to heal that, all that jazz, but none of them are really trying to resonate to the aspect of themselves that needs no healing, that is already perfect in and of itself.
Yes. Wholeness instead of healing. I remember I interviewed my friend Derek, once about meditation. He's like a mindfulness meditation teacher, and he said something similar. He said we always just talk about healing and healing and healing, but yes, like you said, there's the truth, the deepest level is getting into that space that needs no healing, that is perfect awareness, that is beyond both our sufferings and our joys. Yes, beyond who we think we are.
One of the things that I found to be most true is every time you say something like that, like I need healing, like what's the subcontext below that? If you need to be healed, that means that you're unwhole, that you are incomplete.
Reinforcing the incompleteness.
Yes.
Yes. I like how you point that out, because I always felt a similar way about that trend of thinking, and I never really thought deeper into why I didn't really care for it, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yes. It's a very common pitfall, I think, in the path.
Yes, I like that. And I also wanted to ask you too, maybe, because sometimes we can think that there's reality and spirituality, as if you have to come back to reality, or these people are living spiritual, but you have to be in real life, right? Very common. So, but understanding that there's no difference, that spiritual life is this life. And maybe you could talk a little bit about that. Yeah,
I mean, I think that's really what the knowledge and conversation of the Holy Guardian Angel is. It's an experience where you realize that you have been in a one-way conversation with the universe your whole life, but you just forgot to answer back. And so when you begin to partake in that conversation once again, you'll sort of lock back into the rhythm of speaking and listening, and not only, because it's like people that don't realize that they have an intrinsic connection with reality, they will seem to feel that they're somehow separate, when in reality they just need to start being more proactive in their conversation with their own reality.
With their own reality. I love that. I need to quote that. You said we've been in a conversation with the universe forever, you said, but we forget. Yeah, we need to be proactive in realizing that we could communicate back and forth with the rest of existence.
Yeah, and like we learned in the retreat, one of the big takeaways was when you stop only doing ritual in your temple and begin to realize that your life is the temple, and that you can be doing ritual all the time.
I love that. And it took me, because first, in my opinion, I feel like first we have to, if we're just doing nothing to work on ourselves, then we're doing nothing. But then we start doing work, spiritual practice, whatever you want to call it, in the East, often sadhana. And then sometimes there'd be the feeling in me when I'm not doing it, when I'm working throughout the day, oh, this
Like
is a waste of time.
Yes.
I got to get back. Yeah. Like, oh, I'm doing this, sitting here, the family. I should be back doing this. But then through the practices, they've given me the ability over time to start going through that, like you're saying. So then it's no different than the rest of what you're doing all the time, and you don't feel the guilt or like you're wasting the time.
I think even in some ways, it's the mundane, everyday things that are most in need of our devotion, because when those things start to flourish, everything else just seems to fall into place.
Ah, that's spectacular. Yeah, it's like I heard this story Ram Dass used to tell, that this rabbi went to study with another famous rabbi, and he said, I didn't study with him to see what he knew about the Torah. I wanted to see how he tied his shoes.
Exactly. That's a good
lived his life.
Yeah.
And I noticed that, like, I just had someone working on a website with me, and I felt like that was the guardian angel talking to me, because I would say stuff and he'd be like, you're not very patient, are you? And I would get upset at first, and then I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, yeah, why can I bring patience not to this? Because I don't think it's worthy of, putting my attention fully into. And then when I did, beautiful things happened. But it was teachings, you're right, coming through even the mundane things, so that even when I'm sitting,
seemingly mundane, right?
Mundane, because they're not, right? So when I'm sitting there doing tax returns these last couple of days, I'm thinking, oh, this is just as good as anything else, right? Instead of sitting there thinking, oh, I got to get done with this so I can go meditate or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow, I love that. That's beautiful insights. Thank you. How does that translate? I've been listening to some of your Spotify, but how does your path and practice translate into the music you create and the poetry you do? Yeah.
That's probably a really good idea. So I feel like a lot of time I was sort of butting my head into the wall as far as like why this is a part of my path, and I used to actually put so much meaning to it, to the point where like chasing the more regular goals seemed to always fall short of my expectations. And so I got frustrated for a bit when it came to that, because I saw music in particular as this huge tool that like bypasses people's conscious filters and like seeps into the subconscious so fast, and then getting frustrated that all it's being used for is like programming people to be less conscious rather than more conscious.
Right. Yes.
And then the people that realize this seeming to be a little bit too preachy, not realizing that will turn off the audience that it's meant for, if you know what I mean.
Too preachy against it.
Like if it's more conscious music, often it will seem too preachy to the people
Okay.
that aren't into that.
Right.
And
Okay.
so,
Right. So you're trying to make something in between, in a sense.
in a sense, like trying to never blurt it out, but to hint at it, because the unconscious part of your mind always knows,
The
right?
unconscious always knows. Yeah.
And so you just stick to that, like the imagery, the symbolism. You don't have to tell people how to live at all.
Hmm. Yeah. I feel I'm following exactly what you're saying. That's beautiful. So that's how you do your music.
Yeah, and I mean a lot of the music that's out right now is older music, even the music that I just released the instrumental album. That's like almost 8 to 10 years of material sort of condensed into highlights, and me trying to sort of redefine what they meant to me both at the time and today. And that's what got me to the poetry, which is like, what's a way I can redefine that without completely changing it, because I feel like it was perfect for what it was. And so it didn't really change the music at all. I just took the old tracks. At the end of each track, it says the date that I originally released it.
Mm-hmm.
And then going back both mentally to those different times or stages in my life and giving them more meaning so that people might find or relate to what I was going through at the time, and then some of the insights that I have today.
And
So
that's where the
that's,
poems come from?
yeah, the poems are definitely where I'm diving the deepest, but saying the least.
Yes.
Attempting to get at this sort of what I find to be most useful in music, which is like speak to the part of us that don't need any changing.
Yes. I love that. The non-dual part of us.
So tomorrow I'll be releasing the second poem in like a 13 parts. Like there are 13 tracks. Each track has a written part, which is sort of like a diary where I'm going back and sort of airing out what happened to me in the past in like a kind of diary format. And then the second part is always me sort of going through whatever theme is being explored there, and then exploring the theme even deeper in the poetry aspect of it.
Do you mind sharing one with us, or one or two with us?
I'll probably just I'll go ahead and share the poem that I will be releasing tomorrow, which
Oh,
will
yay.
probably already have gone and passed by the time
By
this
when?
is released. And then the what would I call it? The sort of thought pattern of the second, the one that will be released next week. So the poem that will be released tomorrow, Monday, 8th of April, is called Breathe. So I just suggest to the people listening to attempt to tune into the heart by, similarly to the meditation in the beginning, just drawing your awareness to the heart, even by taking your fingers and holding your heart. And the poem goes, let go. There's no use holding your breath. What are you afraid of? More air? It's a wave, don't you see? The rise and fall. You had to have risen to fall. All that weight that falls off helps you rise back up. It was weighing you down, you see. Pain, the pressure that isolates the obstruction. Let go. There's no use running from it. It's time to rise. What are you afraid of? More air?
Thank you. You're a saint. That's beautiful. It's
Thank
like
you.
the law of rhythm I was just reading.
Right.
And yeah, wow. Yeah, we'll certainly put in our descriptions on YouTube and Spotify how to reach your Facebook and your Spotify and everything you have to follow
Yeah, I'm
along.
attempting to release this through a digital format, so using Instagram stories and highlights firstly,
Oh, Instagram too.
and then dumping all of it together on Facebook. I might reach out to other formats eventually, but that's the way I'm sticking to it for now.
Beautiful. Yeah, it will have that all in our description definitely so that people can come and follow along because that was beautiful and I love how you're putting it along with the music. And I've always loved many of the mystic poets have been a huge part of my practice like Rumi and Hafiz and some Kabir I've read, but I love poetry because it especially when it's soul based.
Yeah,
It doesn't have to even be so much, like you said, so much knowledge or so much words, but it conveys just the spirit. Yeah, it conveys the spirit, and in a very profound way. Oftentimes, I know for me, I always keep Rumi around, and no matter what I'm going through, ever he never lets me down. When I open the little poetry, it's always right on. It's
he's
always
the
right on.
Islamic poet, right?
Yes, yes, he was maybe lived 1,200 years ago. He was a great mystic poet, a Sufi. Him and Hafiz, both Islamic poets. Would you like? Thank you so much. Before we wrap everything up, would you like to lead us on the practice we had talked about with the
Yeah.
rosary?
So if anybody has a rosary, they're welcome to use it, but I'm just gonna be using the fingers. I bet you know that method. So I'm not sure if we have the time to do a full round right now, so I think we'll stick to either um, like I'll just figure it out as we go, right? And so
Okay.
before we start, we always open with in the name of the Father, in the name of the Mother, and in the name of the Divine Child. So mote it be.
So mote it be.
I think because you might want to do this out loud, you might want to mute so that it doesn't get discouraging for people hearing two people saying these chants out loud. Okay, so the first part of this is a variation of the Lord's Prayer, stripped out of some of its Christian connotations, and then the last bit is a variation on the Mary prayer. So the first prayer goes, Our Father in heaven, thy name is sacred, thine kingdom is come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we have forgiven our debtors. Lead us out of temptation, and deliver us from evil. So mote it be. And then the Mary prayer goes. Holy Mother, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, so mote it be. And then repeat it 9 more times. Holy Mother, Holy Mother, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, so mote it be. Holy Mother, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, so mote it be. Holy Mother, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, so mote it be. Holy Mother, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, so mote it be. Holy Mother, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, so mote it be. Holy Mother, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, so mote it be. Holy Mother, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, so mote it be. Holy Mother, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, so mote it be. Holy Mother, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, so mote it be. And then the Father's Prayer. Our Father in heaven, thy name is sacred, thy kingdom is come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts, as we have forgiven our debtors. Lead us out of temptation, and deliver us from evil, so mote it be. Holy Mother, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, so mote it be. Holy Mother, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, so mote it be. Holy Mother, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, so mote it be. Holy Mother, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, so mote it be. Holy Mother, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, so mote it be. Holy Mother, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, so mote it be. Holy Mother, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, so mote it be. Holy Mother, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, so mote it be. Holy Mother, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, so mote it be. Holy Mother, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, so mote it be. Our Father in heaven, thy name is sacred, thine kingdom is come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts, as we have forgiven our debtors. Lead us out of temptation, and deliver us from evil, so mote it be. And then we'll close. In the name of the Father, in the name of the Mother, and in the name of the Divine Child, so mote it be. And then just take a moment, keep your eyes closed, and just sit in it for a few breaths. It's always good to let it seep in through all your subtle bodies and all the way up to the core of your being, making sure not to directly get out of it and up into the madness of this world. And then when you're ready, open your eyes.
Thank you. Beautiful practice. I feel that the divine child is being birthed in all of us. Do you feel that way? Like through the mother, the divine child is birthed in all of us, the son in our heart.
Yes, I think the visual that's always really worked for me is that the womb is actually the aura that we began in the practice with. So within that womb, everything is possible, but we need to pay respects to it. We need to tune into it in order for it to be able to fully get into what it's truly capable.
Yes.
Yeah. So to me, the divine feminine aspect is always sort of encapsulated in or our aura or our field of perception. It's been called many things, but sort of everything that you're encapsulated in is the womb of the mother. And then the more energy you give to that aspect, the more possibilities you're able to grow into, because you're paying respects to the womb that you are a part of.
Yes. Thank you. That was a beautiful practice, and thank you for leading us on it.
I guess I would still really love to say that a lot of the practices and the ideas that I'm speaking about come from various sources, and I would still like to pay respects to Jeffrey Allen and his energy work course that influenced a lot of the first practice. And then the teacher Ariel Katoga leads the Witch's Rosary, the practice that we just did, every Friday live on YouTube. And so people can tune in and do that if they want.
Yes, beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Is there any last words you wanted to leave us with before we finish?
I guess just to continue to be good to yourselves and to be good to others, and to keep keep a light mind in a heavy world, and to tread the path one step at a time, and to go ahead and check out the links below to continue to dive deep on the things that we talked about and the teachers that we mentioned, and see what works for you, and to always stay hungry and search for meaning in your life.
So mote it be.
Yeah.